David Jaffe has threatened to sue me for daring to comment on his approach to parenting, we'll say, in response to Nick's order saying, breaking. The U.S. House has just passed legislation to criminalize transgender surgeries, hormones, and treatments for minors. Let's go. And if you're not familiar with David Jaffe, this guy is best known for being the guy that created God of War, Twisted Metal, and in his later years turned out to be quite the old man burnout creepy guy that says some pretty odd things to people. David Jaffe is a dad, and his child is a very confused person thanks to his dad and the upbringing and the world that was surrounded by him. And because of that, his son is now confused on the gender, and David Jaffe feels like that's good, that children should be trans, and he should encourage that. This is the same David Jaffe that in his background has a big flag bumper sticker, the trans colors that says protect trans kids. And I take the perspective of, as a dad myself, I strongly disagree with his approach. I think that's something that needs to be called out. It's embarrassing. It's terrible. It's bad. I feel awful for his child. And it's really sad and unfortunate that's happened the way it has. He says, and if this becomes law, many kids will suffer. No, kids won't suffer. We need to address the problem of the parents defending the kids doing this shit, as opposed to encouraging the kids to get the help they need to avoid going down this road and thinking that this is normal and okay. It's not. Time and time again, it's proven that it is detrimental overall, overwhelmingly, to children to go down this road. Not like you even need science to show you that, but, and some will choose to check out, David, some will choose to check out regardless of what direction you go with them. Like, again, you're not scaring people with these words of, oh my God, if I didn't let my son turn into a girl, he would have Minecrafted himself. You first off, you don't know that. And leaping to that point right away is insanity. That's like you're trying your best to excuse your actions to going down the road that you did. He said the lengths politicians will go to politicize anything that benefits. Protecting the kids is now benefiting the politicians? Huh? Even if it comes at the cost of our most vulnerable. So these are the people that try to get at the kids, people like David Jaffe. They know they're the most vulnerable and they want to push them in these directions. I'm telling you guys, once you actually understand what the mentality of people like David Jaffe are, it is sickening. It's disgusting. And then he has the audacity to come at other people for calling his shit out for it. Like, no, sorry. I am allowed to say what you're doing is disgusting, horrific. It should be disavowed completely. And he needs in my humble opinion, psych evaluation for even going down this road with his child in the first place. If you are out there and trans, first off, there is no such thing as trans people, dude. There are mentally ill people that are encouraged to go down a road that does not exist. And they always end up very depressed, very sad, and wishing they didn't go down that road in the first place. Years later, months later, days later, whenever it happens. Please know there are many of us who have your back and think this is horrible and cruel, as opposed to genital mutilation of children is not horrible and cruel. Right. Okay. So I said, I quote tweeted, screenshot this in case you deleted it. I said, he effed up his own kid and now wants to come after more. Protect kids from David Jaffe. Kids are extremely impressionable, absorbing whatever information is fed. Adults need to be adults. Stop listening to lunatic burnouts that want to get at them first. Psychotic. And David Jaffe saw me post this and took a big issue with it. He quote tweeted me and said, any lawyers out there think I got a good libel case here? You got some experience with that, Tiny Smash JT? What do you think? So now he shared his opinion. I share my opinion. he wants to sue me for my opinion. I mean, I know David's not the brightest bulb, but bro, I hope from the get-go this was just a joke. I didn't take it seriously, but it sure sounds like you were really thinking, like, if a lawyer heard you say this and felt like there's a case, that maybe you would actually go down this road of trying to sue me. So we did have a lawyer respond, Richard Hoeg. He says, defamation cases are notoriously difficult to win given the strength of the First Amendment. Here, I mostly see things best framed as opinion statements. So I'd say it's even tougher. There is perhaps an implied claim of criminality you might be able to show, but very difficult. David Jaffe responds, thanks, Hoeg. I'm not going to really sue the guy. He has a right to say what he wants. So now we have a lawyer telling him that you don't have a case, bro. And right after that, he's like, yeah, I know. I totally wasn't going to sue him. What if the lawyer told you, yes, you do have a case against me, David? What if they were like, yes, I actually just won a case recently with something very similar. Give me a call. Would you still respond? No, I'm not going to really sue. No, you'd be like, okay, wow, there's actually something to be seen here. I think he's a hateful moron, or actually, he probably isn't. What? Just I'm trying to keep up with what he said here. Just a grifter looking to survive the capitalist nightmare that is our world. Oh man, we got David Jaffe speaking macroeconomics, speaking from a level of professionalism, and he understands. He's gonna teach me how the world works. Okay, but either way, what a tiny little fucker. Hope you well, savvy capitalist nightmare. Holy shit. Crooked delight. Here you go, David. You're a piece of shit. The wonderful world of First Amendment. Also, you're a terrible person. First Amendment. I personally despise you and hate you. Fiend. Entium. Surgery should be the last option to anything. Do you know the increased rate of issues due to the complications from those surgeries? I can't with them. They are legitimately retarded in every sense of the word. And I've tried really hard to give them credit and maybe I'm not understanding the perspective they're coming from. No, like at this point, I'm sorry, bro. I can't with you anymore. This is actually like depressing and sad and pathetic. So I have a little thread here from when we screenshot it. Jay Viper. Once again, David Jaffe is out here promoting the mutilation of children and the destructive practice of denying puberty. He dares to ridicule someone for being pushed along. David, you allowed doctors to trick you and push you into transing your own kid. And now you're out here attempting to validate your horrible parenting decisions by telling the mass majority of Americans that they're wrong. Leave the kids the F alone. Let them grow up and make that decision when their brain is fully formed. Stop supporting the theft of youth at the hands of doctors. This isn't even political. It must end. Very well said by Jay Viper there. Banger comment. Philip Chen. There's no such thing as trans kids. There are only parents who are retarded who transition their kids. And he's quote tweeting this dude that is confused, thinks he's a girl and a congressman for Delaware, which is embarrassing in its own right that someone got elected to a government position when they're telling the world that they are mentally ill and incapable of making normal, rational decisions. They are one of the leaders of the country. Yikes. Let's hear what they have to say.
I get it's hard to understand what it feels like to be trans. I get that it is hard to understand what it feels like to be me. I get that it's hard to understand this care and understand the need for it. But one of the things that gets so lost in this conversation is that the transgender adults of today were kids once.
Mm-hmm.
I was a kid once.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have the courage to come out until I was 21.
Okay. So I have so many questions when I hear people talk like this. What was their upbringing like? What were their parents like? Did they even have parents? Where were they encouraged to go? What kind of family situations surrounding them did they have? Because by and large, nearly every single time across the board, there's some really fucked up shit that happened when they were a kid that sends them down this path. And sometimes they'll admit it and say, yes, there was. Other times they won't. But by and large, that's always seems to go back to they're very influenced at a young age, and human beings are so fragile. The brain developing is such a fragile thing, and it's so important to protect the kids from the true evil in this world. And these people are trying to perpetuate this evil. It's so sad.
I have known about myself for my entire life. I didn't have the courage to come out until I was 21, and that means 21 years of pain.
So you were born trans. You came out of your mother's womb and you were in pain. Again, I do not take these people seriously. They are walking mental cases. They belong in an asylum, an institute. They need some sort of professional assistance, medical help. They do. And whenever I talk about this stuff, it always makes the other side they freak out because they know deep down I'm right. And they don't want me to have a voice and say that, because if the truth gets out there, then they'll know that they have to abide by what society is making them fall into, which is getting professional help, assisting them the best way possible. But encourage them to mutilate their bodies and go down this path ain't it. It never has been. Benny Johnson. Now, this is how you kick off a news conference at the Department of Health and Human Services. Here we go.
Men are men. Men can never become women. Women are women. Women can never become men.
I mean, I can't help but think of Kindergarten Cop. Boys have a penis. Girls have a vagina. I know that was like frowned upon to say for like 15 years. I remember I was there. It's so back. I'm so grateful reality is coming back. Look at this. I'm saying the most obvious thing. So David Jaffe threatening to sue me, by the way, for daring to mention this. This one here, this is fantastic news. The David School District has been secretly providing girls with free breast binders through the school's wellness centers. Here I am demonstrating the damage these binders do to girls.
I'm just going to put one on in case people in the audience are not familiar with what children are receiving in this county. If you're over 12 years old, you can have a free breast binder.
12 years old. I didn't even know how to find my dick when I was 12. Like, I'm like not even joking. 12 years old. They're already getting at the kids, indoctrinating them with this shit.
And just to give you an idea what this looks like when you put it on a child, a 12-year-old girl can get a free breast binder through Communicare, through this board, to flatten her breasts so she can pretend to be a trans boy. These are given out free.
Given out free. Look at the colors of it, by the way. It gives these kids an identity. It makes them feel special. It makes them feel a part of something bigger than them and more important, because their home life is completely destroyed. They have nothing for them in their world, and they're looking to just fit in somewhere.
County, the penis tucking kits are available to boys 12 and over, so they can take their penis and tuck it into their groin to give the appearance of being something other than a male. Why would you want to lie to children? Why would you want taxpayer funds going to these kinds of garments for our children?
Taxpayer money going to that stuff. David Jaffe earlier today, I have not watched this yet. This is his stream where he comments on it. And I just pulled it up to the time where I heard him say something. It might be 10 seconds. It might be 20 minutes. I just want to hear how he responds. I have not seen this.
Ultimately, politicians on both sides are
looking to protect the
you
kids
know,
from
they
crazy people.
politicize people for their own benefit. And
How is protecting the kids? This is what he said on Twitter. He will not explain it. He'll just say it. I'm like, it doesn't mean anything. Explain it. How is this benefiting the politicians by saying that kids can't be body mutilated when they're kids? How the fuck is that benefiting them? How?
And I think a lot of people don't understand. They think they understand the trans situation. At least I can understand only as well as I can. You know, I'm not like an advocate. Well, I am an advocate, but I'm not like I'm not like a guy out there who has the education to speak eloquently on this.
So he's admitting he's not smart enough to understand anything about it. But you better damn well listen to him and just go with what he says, because everyone else is wrong. Gotcha.
And I'm not a trans person, but a lot of people just believe the narrative, because the narrative is a pretty compelling narrative if it were true, but it's not. And so
I'll tell you,
easy to go,
I said this before about David Jaffe. If my son or daughter ever came to me and said that they're having questions about their gender or their identity and stuff like that, we'd be having a conversation, and it would get real really quick. And I'm like, no, we aren't going down this road. That's not actually something that's okay. And I want you to explain your feelings, how you got to that conclusion. Let's talk our way through this. But that is not okay. You will live a very sad, depressed life. You will be constantly at war with yourself forever. So that's something you need to resolve, and we need to work through this. Just like saying, if my son came to me and said he feels like he's a dinosaur, like, I understand that you like dinosaurs, but you are not a dinosaur. You're a boy. Like, that's how this works. It's welcome to the world and what the cards you were dealt. And it's not so bad, actually. It's pretty good.
oh, they're harming kids. Who wants to harm kids? No one.
Yes, you do. Kids grow out of this 100%. If you start mutilating them and approving them and pushing them down this road, they will feel like every decision that they are making is confirmed and the right thing to do. And then when they get older and look back and be like, wait a second, why did I go down this? This isn't right. And it's all your fault, you asshole.
No one wants to harm. I mean, unless you're, you know, a fucking weirdo like, you know, Trump
Oh my God, that's what? Oh, wait, hold on. Trump?
and Epstein. But
Okay, so David Jaffe's not a weirdo. David Jaffe's not a weirdo.
listen, if it was consensual and you didn't hate the Jews, I'd fuck the shit out of you. I would.
Stop.
Not a weirdo. Yeah.
Most people don't want to harm kids. But the narrative has been framed in such a way that unless you really want to sit and listen to somebody who has secondhand like me or first,
I don't. That's not a non-starter. There's no conversation to be had. Hey, sit down and listen to me. Let me tell you why I transed my kid. I don't fucking want to hear that. Like, that's a non-starter, bro. Sorry. That's not how you work this conversation. Where you say, hey, if you just accept what I'm saying, there wouldn't be a problem. That's not how this works, bro. It might have worked a few years ago. Doesn't work anymore. People have smartened up to how people like you operate.
and experience like my son or any other trans person.
Wait, is he your son or your daughter? What is it, a girl that says she's a dude? Or is it a dude that says it's a girl, but you call him your son, or you have multiple kids? I'm already getting very confused right now.
You're going to be you're going to be in a situation where you just believe stuff that's simply not accurate.
Oh, that's classic. Yeah, that I can't with this guy. As far as the situation with David Jaffe, I'll leave it at this because my goodness, there's only so much of this guy I can take. This is the same guy that came at Vera Dark because, in his words, the only reason she gets views is because she's cute, but he doesn't find her that cute. I can't make sense of anything that he talks about or what he says. If anything, he's entertaining to just lolcow the shit out of, because that's what he is. But at the end of the day, we can laugh, we can joke, but it gets real when we start talking about the kids. And as a dad myself, I take it personally because these kids are defenseless. And people like David Jaffe are very detrimental to society with approving this kind of logic and saying this is normal, this is natural, this is okay. It's not. It's not. You, in my humble opinion, David, have failed as a dad. And your way of coping with it is everyone else is wrong except me. Okay, bro. Whatever gets you to sleep at night. But I'll leave that there.